Welcome to MinkLife Motivation Live, and boy, do we have a show for you today. As you can see, we are loaded. We have a co-host and two guests, and I'm excited to get to know these guys. I kind of got to hang out with Catlin a little bit yesterday, so I know Catlin a little bit, but we've also have Lynda and Ronnie here. So let's pull them up and let them introduce themselves and get to know them a little bit. Catlin, I've got a question for you. How has using your voice to build your brand helped you on your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, as a brand and web developer myself, developing my message is a really key factor. It's easy to do for other people. I use my voice to help build my brand by talking about design trends, keeping myself going, and surrounding myself with other like-minded entrepreneurs and business owners to really help see what they're talking about, and constantly developing my own voice.
I love it. I love it. Lynda, come tell us about you and what you do, and how has using your voice to build your brand helped you on your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh my God, it's been a journey for sure. I spent so many decades, the first 51 years of my life, stifling my voice because I had so much fear around, what will people think of me? The fear of judgment was like just so strong in my life. And at age 51, I hired a life coach who helped me to start that discovery of who I am and my voice. And then at age 51 also, I decided to do something a little crazy. I broke through one fear every single day for a year. And in doing that helped me discover wow, who I am, and to break through that fear of judgment that was holding me back for so many years. So in my business now as a book publisher, sharing stories is so important because it not only transforms our own lives, but it transforms those lives of the readers. And so, getting into book publishing was something that I was never going to do. I'm not a writer. I'm not a reader. I wasn't even a reader. So it's so awesome to be here doing this. So yeah, I'm excited to just talk about that a little bit more today.
I love it. I love it. And I'm not a reader either. I'm an audiobooker. So I love that. That is awesome. Ronnie, come up here and tell us how using your voice to talk about your brand has helped you on your entrepreneurial journey.
Well, wow, this is a really spontaneous answer, but I guess the truth is, by the way, I heard Lynda's voice and I heard Monica's voice in 2020, and I've been following them ever since. So yay. I had no idea who these ladies were until all of a sudden everybody was on Zoom and everybody was on Clubhouse and everybody was on LinkedIn. And so I've heard your voices, and it's just really cool how we've all evolved. I'm a life coach, and I wasn't a life coach in 2020. I really used my voice to start asking questions and start talking to people. And I was a personal trainer, which I still am, but I was really talking to a lot of people, helping them. Women are very powerful, and we took care of business. We put on our big girl pants, and we had the kids at home working on the dining room table. The spouses were at home when all the COVID closures happened, and women took care of things. But a lot of women weren't taking care of themselves at first. Fitness was the first thing to fall off the schedule. So I had clients telling me, my sister, my friend, whatever. And I would offer, would you want me to talk to her? So I started talking to people and listening to them. So it's kind of weird for me to say, how do I use my voice in my business? Because I listened, if that makes sense. I listened to a lot of people, and I guess I started being an advocate for women. I'm 57, and I was 55 at the time. It's I started really advocating for helping women help themselves change. At the time, the big word was pivot. But a lot of women in the past 2 or 3 years have been changing and growing, deciding I want to level up in my career. I want to level up at my job. They were afraid of being indispensable. Or I want to change careers. I want to become an entrepreneur. And I guess I'm using my voice and asking a lot of questions. And I decided, okay, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to get certified because I wanted a curriculum. Nobody ever asked to see my certificate. It's right there. But I really wanted the structure. And now it's so powerful. It's great to hear Lynda say she got a life coach, because people always ask me, what does a life coach do? Well, it depends on the life coach. And I guess I've turned into, and it wasn't a gimmicky title, I'm a level up, because we're all really, I mean, you hear these things, we're wonderful women, we're amazing, but we really are amazing creatures. All human beings are. So I'm not here to fix anybody. We really level you up from where you are to where you want to be. And we take action. I'm all about taking action. So I use
I
my voice,
love
asking questions and going from there.
I love that listening is actually part of using your voice, because then you can advocate and actually use your voice for the people that don't already know how to use their voice. For me, I think I was always told I'm too much, I'm too loud, I'm too much, too much of everything. And I think when I realized, yeah, I am, that's my superpower. You're right. And when I quit muting those things to make everybody around me feel comfortable, and I realized that I am too much, that's my superpower, and I'm going to use my voice, and I'm going to pull everybody else that is too scared to use their voice, I'm going to pull them up with me. And I think that when we realize that our voice is, that's what we hear, that's what we believe, and we can use that to guide things and lead the people that are following us. You have to have a strong voice in order to have people follow you. Who's the people that are following you? Well, it could be your potential clients. People are following you on social media. You don't even know them, but they may be hanging on every word you say. So keep that voice strong. All right, let's get motivated. That's a cue from my producer to Hush. All right, got it. Why is it important to understand how to use your voice in branding, in building your brand? And I am going to start with Lynda for this one. Lynda, why is it important to understand?
Well, this is an interesting question. And of course, we can all interpret it however we're going to interpret it. What I love about this question is because for me, the very first thing that popped into my head, and just so you all know, we were not prepped with the questions ahead of time. Okay.
No.
So we are like winging this. So for me, this is all about authenticity. Like, who are you? Who are you deep down inside? As a recovered people pleaser, and all those fears that I had, I didn't know who I was, because as a people pleaser, we're spending our time like pleasing outside. We forget about ourselves. And so what happened to me is I didn't even know who I was. So it's through that work with that life coach that she helped me to discover who I truly, truly am. And my brand, I walk around as my brand. We all do. But here's the question. Are you branding yourself, or are you going to let them brand you? You get to decide. And so I decided that I'm just going to show up authentically as myself everywhere I am, no matter where I am. I interviewed the president of Mexico in his presidential suite, and I showed up in jeans, tennis shoes, a cutoff top, and purple in my hair. And because I was like, I'm just going to show up as me. If he likes me, awesome. And if he doesn't, that's okay too. At least I'm showing up as me. So our brand, we get to decide, what that means and how we show up. And so for me, that piece of authenticity is important because that's part of my integrity, and my integrity rolls into my business. So that's kind of like the short answer to that question.
Wow, that was awesome. That was really awesome. All right, Ronnie, you got to follow that.
No, I hear you. I hear you. And when you said, Monica, not Monica, I'm so sorry. When you said that you were too much and that you were too big, I used to be called by my big sister and my big brother, you're just too sensitive. Oh, you take things, you're just too sensitive. And finally in my 40s, I was like, you know what? I am sensitive, but what's too sensitive? And I owned it. So I get it. If you're told you're a lot, well, maybe they're right. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And so, yes, I am sensitive. And that's really made me a good listener. I believe because I personally have my empathy. So I just go with who I am and what I am. And using my voice and asking a lot of questions. I'm the WHY should be my middle name. I'm just so curious. I mean, people fascinate me. People's backstories fascinates me. People already they're writing their autobiography every day. And I just love looking at people and asking questions and asking their opinions and their lifestyles. So I know it's using your voice, but how can you have a voice if you are not interested in other people and you're not interested in what they have to say and what they want and their opinions and their perspectives? And as a life coach, I've learned to look at the perspective. The first thing you work on is your thought before your feelings. Most of us go to our problems first, And then the to-do action, how do I fix that problem? And I've learned, like, stop. What was your thought about that? And then we look at different possibilities and perceptions. So to going back to my brand, I found out that my brand is just me. You know, when I started thinking of pivoting and becoming something else, I went through a lot of evolution. Should I be a fitness coach? It just made sense. And then a wellness coach or midlife coach or a menopause coach or a midlife after 50. Everybody just kept saying niche, niche. And I was listening to everybody going, you should niche, you should micro niche. I finally just thought, okay, what do I like and what am I good at and what fulfills me? I can coach anybody at any age, at any level about every aspect of their life. So I decided my niche was my style, was me. And so I became a holistic, and I didn't even know what holistic meant. I'm a good reader, but I was like, well, what is this woo-woo holistic? It really is just mind. It's mind, body, and psyche. I'm like, that is me, because every aspect of your life affects the other aspect. So what I bring to the table in my voice and my brand is me. I'm my own walking billboard. So to level up, you got to walk the talk. You can't just talk. You got to walk the talk.
There you go. That's why you should use your voice. All right. So I'm looking for the question again. And Caitlin, I'm going to call you up. Why is it important to understand how to use your voice in building your brand, Caitlin?
Well, as I was listening to both both of the other ladies talking about, you know, as a solopreneur, every piece of you is your brand. And as a visual brand designer, you know, I get so focused on the visuals, and that's what my brain instantly connects with, is like, how do I bring someone's personality into my designs that I'm doing for someone else? And so, you know, all of it comes together, because then when you're your own brand and your voice, it's how you're talking on social media, how you're talking in conversations like this. It's that walk, talk, everything you're doing. And so it is interesting, as I've evolved. I've been an entrepreneur now for 2 years. In my previous work, as designers, you tend to be kind of like in the background. You're making things happen. You're making things work. So I'm in my mid to late 30s, like approaching 40. And so I'm in awe of like how powerful it seems to be once you let go of some of that stuff of like the hide in the corner, the be the employee, and really stepping into who my brand voice is. And, you know, as Peggy said, we talked last night, it's something I'm very much working on, because it's totally stepping out of my comfort zone of being the person behind the computer, just creating the beautiful designs and getting the work done. But, you know, I won't be able to meet and help more people if I don't get out here and have these kind of conversations.
Absolutely. Yes. Awesome. We've got some comments. Are you branding yourself, or are you going to let them brand you? That's fire. And I like that. Ronnie, yes. Oh, my superpower. That's awesome. Own your superpower. And lots of huggies and claps. All right. I love it when the audience jumps in. Yes. No idea, guys. Sorry. I can barely
Just make it up.
All right.
You know, Peggy, I'd love to comment on something Caitlin said. I was talking with a graphic designer, and she was brand new, and she wanted to hire me as a coach. And she was showing me samples of her work for her new clients, and it was all over the place. I'm like, I'm not talking about the quality, but look at, and we were going through different pieces, and she's like, yeah, but that's how that client wants it. That's how that client wants it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, what do you think? And then she was telling me, you know, and it was confidential, but I said, you know, these clients really depend on you to help them bring out the best in their product and their service. Mm-hmm. And if there's certain things that you think, hey, if you're thinking it, don't you think other people will think it or question it? And she's like, well, yeah. I'm like, and if you have opinions, it's okay, isn't it? If you present the best so that you can help them think of other perspectives and then really put their best foot forward. Anyway, the whole point was she had to take her authority, her agency. Yep. Like, people want someone with agency who bring their own talent and opinion and perspective, and then ask you and listen to you, because really you want someone who really knows what they're doing and they can trust. It's just that word agency. Anyway, she has so come a long way, not telling her clients what to do, but not holding back either. So Caitlin, you reminded me of her in that she's bringing out her style and her questions, and it was about the copy. The copy was wrong and all over the place. I'm like, I know you're not a consultant, but I would want my graphic designer to tell me, this doesn't make sense.
Well,
She's like, I'm
there's
not
a
a
huge,
copywriter, but still.
yeah, there's a huge
Exactly.
difference between like service provider or like pixel pusher versus fully engaged entrepreneur,
Yeah.
consultant that also does the work as well. So there is that huge mindset shift of you're the authority. They're hiring you as a one-to-one service. They're trusting that if they wanted to have someone just execute exactly the design they wanted, there are designers for that as well. So it just depends on what kind of person or designer you want to have.
I love that. And that's exactly what I've done with my studio. I'm a photographer. Your client is always right. No matter what they want, that is what is right. However, if you want me to do your headshots or your images, you have to do a consultation with me first. You have to go through the headshot strategy program where we really dig deep. So I help you understand what you want, because most people that are looking for a service don't know what they want. They want something pretty, right? You want a pretty logo, you want a pretty website, you want a pretty headshot, but really you don't. You want something that's going to be effective, that's going to pop, that's going to grab the attention of your potential clients, and that's going to get you moving forward. So I think that's what puts me in a unique situation. And that's how, when you're using your voice and helping them, you're not telling them what to do. You're helping them discover what they want. And you're using your voice to show them, to pull those things out of them. They already know it. They just haven't asked the question yet. So you ask the questions and let them come to that conclusion, and then you make the magic for them. And I think that is the most powerful thing when we learn how to use our voices as entrepreneurs and in our business. This is fun, I told you. All right, Ronnie, you're up next. We are going to stay inspired. How does a lack of understanding how to use your voice affect the way you move through life and business? If you don't know how to use your voice, how is that going to affect you?
Oh my gosh. Well, everybody, and especially women, and I know I'm broad brushing, but I'm taking from what I hear. Okay. Especially women have this thing with time scarcity. You lose time, first of all, if you're all over the place, taking a lot of tracks and grabbing this and doing this webinar and trying this idea. No, you don't go in a closet and put on 5 different things. You go in and you plan, but you have to know what you want. And that is the hardest thing, even though it sounds so woo-woo simple. But really, clarity is key before using your voice and before knowing what you want. If you lack knowing what you want, the clarity, what is your big vision, and then your mission statement. Every company has a mission statement. First, they have a vision, the big vision, and your mission is, how am I going to carry it out according to my core values, according to my preferences, according to my lifestyle, according to whatever. But so many of us are in the to do, and not hold it. What is your first vision and then your mission? How do you want to carry it out? So when you lack this, you have too many things, you have too many cooks in the fire, or whatever. There's too many fish in the fire, too much popcorn. You really need to streamline. And really, the time scarcity thing, when you're all over the place, you lose more time. And I'm not saying be organized and have a Google Calendar and all that. It's really know your priorities and what you will really do. When people ask me, should I do this or should I do that? Yes. What? Well, which one will you do? It's like, let's see what's doable, what's realistic, leave time gaps, and then you free yourself up. You free yourself up to know what you want to do, and then you start getting it. You start stepping into your brand. You start being your brand, and that's really important, especially for entrepreneurs. Peggy, I can already tell you are your brand. I can tell who you are by your personality. And that doesn't mean you're not flexible. You're way flexible, but I can already tell your unique style. And that's what I mean by walking the talk. Work on yourself first to then be able to have the agency and the confidence to help others work on whatever they need you for.
Yes. All right, Caitlin, we're going to ask you the same question. How does a lack of understanding how to use your voice affect the way you move through life and business? I'm sure you have had clients that have no idea what their voice is. How does that affect how they move and how you move?
I do. And again, to be the open, vulnerable sort of newbie entrepreneur, it's something that I'm still working on figuring out for myself. And when you don't know, and so, it's kind of getting over the fear of showing up anyway and finding out what might happen, what people might react to. So, it's the idea that, like, if you don't even show up to try, you're not going to find out what works or what doesn't work. And so even when I have clients come and they don't know what they want, it is sort of maybe go DIY it for a little bit and then come back to me when you have a better sense of what you want to invest in to create the cohesive brand, and looking around at what you like and don't like, both visually and, when you see a post or hear someone speaking and you don't like it, kind of take a step back and understand, like, figure out what parts you don't like. I mean, I think there's like an old adage of, like, things that you don't like about other people are usually a somewhat reflection of something you don't like about yourself. And so kind of exploring that and to kind of keep working on getting a better understanding of yourself.
Awesome. All right. We are going to ask Lynda the same question. How is a lack of understanding? Yes. How does a lack of understanding of how to use your voice affect the way you move through life and business?
This is, I wrote down some little notes here because there's so many different things were just flooding through my brain with this question. One of those is that, words are extremely powerful. The words that we use, the words that we speak out loud, as our voice, as well as the words we speak in our own head. They're so powerful. Like when we call ourselves things like, oh my God, that was so dumb, or I'm so dumb that I did that, and I can't believe how stupid I am, or whatever things that we're speaking, those words, those carry out into the way we present ourselves out in the public, out in the real world, right? And so one thing I wrote down was, I hear this all the time from women. Sorry, women, but it's true. Is they say the word "I'm sorry" or apologizing for things way too often. These words that we use, they're reflective in who we are and how we show up. And so that was one thing I had to work on, because "I'm sorry" was probably my most common phrase I said, when I was a people pleaser and, showing up as that person. And how does this affect us? This affects everything we do. This affects, when we're showing up out in public or we're showing up in our own houses, this is who we are and we're walking around as. So when we change our language, we can change our lives. When we learn to speak in the positives as opposed to the negatives, we can change our lives for the positive. And guess what happens? We start attracting positive people, because negative people don't want to be around positive people because they're too positive. So you start attracting more positive people into your life. So really just showing up as who we are. And there was something else. There's a gentleman by the name of, he's really, really short. His name is Yoda. He's in Star Wars. And he says, there is no try, just do. So we don't try anything. There's nothing we can ever try, because I can't try to hold this pen. I can either hold it or not. That's the example there. But just showing up as who we are. And if you're not liking who you are, or if you're not liking the people you're hanging out with, guess what? It's a reflection of who you are, exactly like Catlin mentioned. So if you're not liking the people you're hanging out with, start changing yourself, and then you'll find yourself hanging out with better people.
I love it. Yes. Our voice is how we communicate. It's how we show up. It's how we create things. Without the voice, we're not going to really be able to create anything in our lives. And I like what you said, like when you're saying the negative things all the time, that's the world you're creating. That's the thing you give the most attention to and the most words to is what's going to come back to you. That's just a law. If I hold up a pen and I let go of it, it's going to drop. Why? Because of gravity. It's a law. It's going to happen. And we have to realize that our voice is how we use our voice to describe our brand, is how people are going to see our brand. And they're either going to follow us or they're going to be like, not interested, right? Because our voice is one of the biggest things we can do for our brand. Our voice is what people will follow. Our voice is what's going to attract or repel our potential clients. So it's really important that you know who your potential clients are, you know how they talk, and you know how to speak to them with that voice. All right, let's get everybody back up here and let's talk about networking. Let's keep networking. All right. Let's see. I think Caitlin's up next. Who should we ask for to improve our communication skills? If you want to network and see like this, if you want to improve your ability to communicate, who should you ask?
I think it's a mix. I think that some of it could be with peers. So, I'm in a community of other web designers, and we practice some of our elevator pitches, some of the ways that we talk about things, so that there's like less pressure. I've also heard similarly, just find someone in an in-person networking, or if you're in a one-to-one, just like say, hey, can I try this? Like, does this make sense if I tell you what I do in this way? I think people really enjoy when you're open, honest, and vulnerable versus trying to come in all slick car salesman ready to go. Because again, it's people working with people hiring people. You're even when you're doing big corporations, it's usually ends up being with whoever your one-to-one connection is.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Lynda, who should we ask for to improve our communication skills?
Well, I love that we're talking about networking in relation to communication skills, because I was terrified to network. I used to drive to a networking event. Remember, I broke through a fear every day for a year in 2015. So, I would drive to a networking event. I would sit in my car. I would agonize about going in, and then I would get on Facebook, and then I would wait till the networking event was over and go home. I never went inside. Mm-hmm. That's how terrified I was of talking to people. So this communication skills and networking together is such a huge thing for me. And now I walk in like I own the place. But what I do is I prep myself while I'm driving there. I say, I'm going to get there. I'm going to walk in like I own the place. Again, I'm just changing my language to who I am and how I'm showing up. So this right here, what I love about this is I have inserted myself accidentally, it was totally accidentally, into an environment of extremely positive, motivational, uplifting people. And so by doing that, they have helped me to improve my own communication skills. I used to say the words all the time, and starting sentences with the word so. I still do it, but not nearly as much as I did before. And I found that I needed those filler words because I felt so ignorant and stupid. Because why? My first husband made sure I knew how stupid and ignorant I was on a daily basis, and I believed him. So I was coming from this place of all this negativity, learning what positivity was, coming from this place of darkness, moving into the lightness and hanging out with those amazing people. And so the communication skills, we're a reflection of the 5 people we hang out with. So who are we hanging out with? Well, I'm hanging out with millionaires and billionaires right now. So I'm a reflection of that. Am I a millionaire or billionaire right now? Not yet, but I'm hanging out with them because that's where I'm going. And I see that. And so it has tremendously improved my communication skills.
Awesome. All right, Ronnie.
Well, I used to, go ahead.
No, it's fine. You got it. Go for it.
Well, I used to think I'm not eloquent enough and, to be a network anchor type, to do a podcast or to go on a podcast such as this or a live. I just thought I'm not eloquent enough. So I realized I loved talk shows back in the day. It was just on air. And now it's all podcasts. I listen to so many podcasts. And when I like somebody, I listen. And I realized they're just talking. So I started going on as a guest, and I'm just talking. People just want to converse. And as long as I'm telling the truth and I'm being honest and I'm being myself and I'm holding on to my core values, I'm good. I may not be the most eloquent speaker. I mean, sure, you can join Toastmasters and practice. But as far as networking and connecting, be genuine. I just say go to whatever interests you, not with the agenda of I got to look good and I've got to sell, but with the agenda of be interested. And we've heard this before, but we're nervous because we want to come off well too, and we want to be seen and heard, but also be genuinely interested in the people at that networking event. Why are you going? Why this particular event? You forget about your own nerves. You forget about being eloquent, not eloquent. If you're truly into what the person is telling you, or a group of people are talking and you have questions, but real questions, they come up because somebody says something and then that just starts a conversation. that's what put me more at ease in networking, because I also didn't like networking. I thought you had to have an elevator pitch. And as I was growing up in the past 2 years, my pitch kept changing. Finally, I just let go of the pitch. It's like, I'm not good at it. I ain't going to do it. This is what I do. This is who I am. And I'm mostly interested in other people. So when you do have the nerves, I say, ask questions. Be a good reporter and be a good listener. And then it just starts flowing. And a good practice is to listen to people that interest you, listen to their podcasts. And then you realize they're just talking, they're conversing, and each one has their own style. So go for it. And, just think about that thought again. What's my thought about that? And change that thought. Am I not good enough? Am I going to say too many ums and so's? Am I not interested? Am I an imposter? Change that thought to something your brain actually believes. Not like, I'm the most perfect, eloquent speaking goddess and I know how to network. No, your brain doesn't believe that. But a lot of people go to networking events just like me. That's a fact. And then maybe that'll ease your feelings. First, look at your thought, and that changes your emotion about it. Tell yourself something that's real, and then start looking at all your wins. Start looking at all the times you have networked well and people liked meeting you and followed up with you. Give your brain evidence. Hey, people like talking to me, and give yourself examples.
I feel like everybody likes talking to me. Like, why wouldn't you like hanging out with me? But seriously, people see me as this outgoing, life of the party. I can talk to anybody. I can handle any situation. But that's all a facade. That's something that I have had to learn to do. My real me used to sit in the corner, would go to a party and sit at the corner, would go to an event, would sit off at the corner. Why? Because I was horrified. I stuttered as a child. And if you listen to me a lot, you still know that I still do stutter sometimes. And so you build those insecurities up, and they last a lifetime if you don't overcome them. And I think the person you should go to improve your communication skills is people. Just make yourself join in. I think the biggest key to communication is listening. So when you begin to listen and you watch, how do other people, they're just talking, just like, what Ronnie said, they're just talking. I talk, I know how to talk. Okay, I could do this. And, I'm sure that Monica's watching, and Monica's like, I thought she'd say maps and mirrors. Well, of course I'm going to say maps and mirrors. Find people that are good at it. That's your map. And then find people that will say, hey, you say a lot in your videos. I hear all the time. Maybe you should train that out. Oh, okay. So you want the people that are going to be honest with you and tell you where you're missing it, but you also want to just get out there and listen and learn. And the more you do it, the more I always feel like I'm literally standing on a cliff ready to jump off. Like, I get butterflies like that every single time I have to be in front of anyone, because I have all of those things. But I've just told myself that that's fun. Just like people like roller coasters, this is my roller coaster. To me, I'm just like, well, I got the butterflies. Let's go. It's going to be fun. So I think that's the best way to do it. All right. Are you guys ready to gain some knowledge? This is our speed round. Speed round. Say it after me, everyone. Speed round. You have one tip. What is your last thought? Share one tip how to maximize your voice in your brand. And I don't know who I started with last, so I'm starting with Catlin.
Trust your gut. Listen to your gut, even if you haven't in a long time. Just start really reflecting on who you are, and that will help you understand, and that'll help you show up more authentically and genuinely.
Love it. Yes. All right, Lynda.
The authentic word, it may be overused sometimes, but it's still a real word. Show up authentically as who you are. Be brave and share your weaknesses, for in your weaknesses, others see your strengths. I came up with that saying when I was breaking through those fears every day for a year, because I realized I was so scared of so many things. And every time I would show up in that scared moment, which for me was a very vulnerable, scary moment, I felt weak in that moment. People would say, wow, you're so brave. And so I saw that the more I showed up myself, the more I showed up vulnerably, the more authentic I became, and the more I attracted the right people into my life, those who wanted to hang out with the real Lynda, not the Lynda that I was pretending to be as a people pleaser. So really just step into that authenticity. Who are you? What are you all about? What are your pillars of things like these are the strengths that I have, and standing on those pillars and knowing who you truly are. Show up as that person everywhere you go, and you will attract the right people in your life.
I love it. All right, Ronnie, one last tip.
One last tip is experiment. Go ahead and try different things and test it. Test it out. Just like in your email, the A/B testers, test out your brand and giggle about it. There's no failure. Einstein probably tried 20 tests before he got one answer right. People fail up. So test it, skin your knee, and laugh in joy about I-N, joy of what you're learning. You're always learning. So test out your brand, test out different things, and test out what feels good. Go in that fitting room and find what feels good to you. This looks good on me. This feels right on me. Okay. And then you start honing in on, well, this is my brand. Test it.
I am going to start spelling enjoy, I-N-J-O-Y from now on. I love that. Let just be enjoy things. I'm going to start enjoying life more. I love it. Okay. My final tip would be, gosh, something that someone else didn't say. I was going to go with authentic, and you guys took it like straight out the gate. My final tip would be to just have fun. Literally just I know that kind of is enjoy, huh? Jeez. All right, guys, I don't have a final tip. This was too good. You guys are awesome. So what I'm going to do, since clearly I can't come up with a final tip because I ramble too much, I am going to start with the announcements, and we are going to let our co-host tell us how we can get in touch with her, and then we'll go to our guest. All right, Caitlin, what announcements do you have for us? What's going on in your life and business right now?
So I have a free gift of 7 small but impactful tweaks you can make to elevate your online presence. And then if you have any questions or want to discuss, kind of brainstorm a bit about your existing brand or a new idea for a company, I'm always open to have a chat, and you'll be able to book a call after you download this guide.
Awesome. Very cool. All right. Ronnie. Oh, nope. Lynda. Lynda's what I meant to say.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us. This has been fun. I have really enjoyed the questions, and they got me thinking. A lot of times when you're interviewed, the questions are more in line with what I'm talking about and stuff. So this is great because it really got me thinking. So thank you so much for that. For me, what I'm mostly working on right now, this not Ronnie was talking about niching down. We have really niched down to our main focus in our business. I am a book publisher, and I help you to get your story out there. But what we're really focusing on is helping people who who have a community of people under them who would like to do a book with them. So we're looking for like that influencer person, that leader person, like a coach, or somebody who has like a Facebook community or whatever, that they want to bring their people together and be able to create something together as a cohesive unit. So that's what I'm mainly looking for right now. So if you're looking to add more value to your own community, let's hop on a call. Let's talk about publishing that book, and I can help you to monetize it as well. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Ronnie, what announcement do you have?
Well, lately I've been working with people on the holidays, and we hear it every year, and all the hacks and tips and 6 ways to do that, and how to avoid overeating during the holidays. And so I brought this it's become kind of a series, but I didn't make it a series on purpose. I wasn't like, I'm going to launch a series. But every week I've been talking about stress in the family gathering, stress about the time and money. A lot of people, in fact, most Americans are stressed about money. Even if you're doing well and you're making money and you're fine and you've saved, there's still that underlying stress about food and eating, a lot of stress, loneliness. So I would like you, if you'd like, to talk to me about what's pinging you. I call it ping. Even if it's not a big deal in your mind, if there's a little bit of distress in your body, that affects you. That affects your hormones. That affects your well-being in different ways. So I would like to give you a really good, powerful audit, a stress audit. What's really bothering you or stressing you out, or just the little stress, the holiday stress. And we don't fix the problem. You're not going to fix nosy Aunt Jane or Billy Bob who teases you at the family gathering. No, you look at what really is the thought I have behind my problem. And then you work your way to de-stress. And I have a fast way of doing it. I do thought work, because when you enter into the holidays and into any situation with stress inside, even if you're like, no, I've got this affirmations. No, get rid of the stress, lower the stress. And then you're so much more free to see that in a new perspective. And actually it becomes not a problem or less of a problem. You don't define it as a problem anymore. So I would love to give you a little stress audit, not just for what works instantly during the holidays. So you go into the situations and that's just a situation. It's not a real problem, but how you can be and start setting your default button, resetting that default button of what causes you to stress for the rest of your life, entering into the new year. So get a hold of me on LinkedIn. I am in the middle of finishing my website, which will be ronnielowlifecoach.com. So for now, find me on LinkedIn and DM me.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Now everybody knows your headshot and or your profile picture is often your very first impression, your potential clients, colleagues, friends. So what I do is I am a headshot strategist. I help you get the images that are going to impact your community. If you are in the LA area, you can schedule a time to get your headshots taken. If you are anywhere else in the world, we can go through the program online and I can equip you to get those effective headshots. So either way, schedule a free consultation, because we've already discussed it would be fun to hang out with me for 15 minutes on Zoom. So I will see you soon. Let's talk about the community announcements now. All right. Obviously, we have a ton of things going on in the MinkLife community. We have the Minkubator, which is the daily co-working space. If you are an entrepreneur, soulpreneur, sometimes it can feel like you are on your own. Well, come here, do your own thing, and at the same time, have the support of your community behind you. I am always taking advantage of it because I am not always the clearest person with my words. So I'm like, hey, read this. No, Peggy, rewrite it. Got it. Dough. So, and maybe you need a graphic edited. I'm there. I'll do it. Like, we all work together. It's lots of fun. There's also 4 MinkLife Motivation Principle Action Planner courses available when you join the community. All of these things here, and you can be a part of all of this for only $79 a month. We're always adding things to it. Also, you want to come and hang out on this live show, we can get you on here and you can be a guest, or if you're already part of the community, you can be a co-host and we'll have a ton of fun together. And what else is coming up? Tomorrow at 1 o'clock Pacific time, join Colleen to boost your influence. Now, Colleen, we talked a lot about networking. She's our genius for networking. So anyway, be here tomorrow, same time, different time, same place at 2 p.m. I said 1. I'm my producer's holding up 2 fingers. I'm like, 2 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. We did it, guys. It was great having all of my amazing co-hosts and guests on here. Thank you so much.